Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic for this training session, which is on CTS Plus. Okay, CTS Plus, basically what this CTS Plus is, it's basically the configuration of CTS. For CTS basically is the change and transport system for transporting non-ABAP objects, like the objects from your portal systems, object from your Java based systems, like your PI objects. Okay, then basically here you can see this is a classic transport scenario with different tools for ABAP and Java transport. So you have multiple development workbench here. Okay, you have things like, you can see this is basically a Exchange infrastructure where you can have separate tool for separate CTS for your ABAP instance. Then using NWDI you are transporting your Java instances, and you have NetWeaver Developer Studio. Okay, then you have for transporting portal environment, you have different things for transporting. So here you can see that for ECC system you have one thing, for PI system there is ABAP and Java. For CE, that is composite environment, you have different way of transporting it, and for the portal system you have a different way of transporting using Java layer. Now the new option is through CTS Plus, that is enhanced CTS. Okay, enhanced CTS is called CTS Plus because you can transport the non-Java things from this system as well. So enhanced CTS offers the transport of objects created in other environment other than Java via the ABAP change and transport system. So we get an enhanced CTS, that is one central transport tool for transporting all Java and ABAP objects. So for ECC you can use the same things. You can, for ABAP plus Java, you can use the same transport tool. For CE, that is composite environment, you can use the same tool, and for the portal you can use the same tool. Okay, so here is an example of CTS. You have a transport domain controller which is having the SID as TDC, which you can have it in Solution Manager, which is basically an ABAP plus Java based SAP system. Okay, so in addition, on this SAP system the CTS deploy web service is configured. So you can see this is a landscape for ECC system. Then you have PI system landscape. Okay, so basically for ECC you have ECD, ECQ, ECP. So from D to Q it is a consolidation route, from Q to P it is a delivery route. So for PI same thing, PID to PIQ to PIP. Then for portal you have this is the SID we are using for portal. Okay, so basically here you are seeing three different landscape, single domain controller, three different type of product. So that is basically using enhanced CTS Plus. The changes are being transported from the dev environment to quality environment to production environment. Okay, CTS plugin. CTS plugin offers capabilities to define SAP and non-SAP application types and import actions to connect them with CTS using SAP Solution Manager. It also allows you to use your own development methods to import SAP and non-SAP applications into your target system from CTS. Okay, now what is the basic requirement for running CTS Plus? Okay, so the transport domain controller, that is TDC, and SAP system with CTS deploy web service. The following list contains the SAP system requirement which must be fulfilled for the transport domain controller, the CTS systems. On the ABAP side, you need to have at least the ABAP 7.0 with service pack 12, 14 is recommended. Then you need to use your latest version of TP and R3 trans. Then finally the connection to CTS deploy web service must be configured. TDC, that is the transport domain system, must be configured as transport domain controller in STMS. and if applicable, non-ABAP SAP system and transport routes between these SAP systems must be defined. Okay, on Java side, what you need is you need at least AS Java 7.00 with same SP stack as AS ABAP part, that is 7.0 service pack 12 or 14 is recommended. Then CTS deploy web service must be configured and running. Okay, runtime SAP systems. In addition to the CTS system, the runtime SAP system, that means the SAP systems that are included in the STMS system landscape, must fulfill certain requirements. These requirements are as follows: SAP system based on AS ABAP, SAP system with usage type EP, then SAP system with usage type PI, then SAP system with usage type DI, that is NWDI. Although the enhanced CTS is available with SP service pack 12 onwards, but recommended is 14 for the TDC system, as the configuration has been simplified significantly with this SP stack. Okay, now let's see the key steps for the configuration of the transport domain controller SAP system with CTS deploy web service. Okay, just note that the CTS deploy web service runs on the AS Java part of the CTS system, but it must be configured on the AS ABAP part of the CTS system, because the AS ABAP part needs to know how to connect to this service. So as a step 1, what is required is SICF, that is export part activate ABAP WebDyn Pro for transport organizer. That is the first step. So what is that service is? Let's see. Let's go to the system to see that particular service. Okay, so here I am on the system, and let me go to the SICF where we can see the different services. Okay, service name I want to see starting with SICF. Okay, so it's starting with SICF, so I just need to put SICF CTS star. So here you can see all the services which is starting with CTS is being seen here. And if I just click on, say, just right click on this and click on test service, because all the service you can see is in activated state. Okay, so this is basically that. So CTS plus is service cannot be accessed here. You have CTS log browser, CTS organizer. Okay, so basically this need to be configured for HTTP. Okay, so that's the reason this is not, but basically you just need to make sure that the properties for this this is basically activated and reference object. Let's see this. Okay, so this is the location, it is present. Okay, so this is about the CTS browser. Okay, then we have deploy web service, which is in LM config under SM59. Basically this should be configured. This is one of the RFC destination. Then in the STMS we need to activate transport domain controller and configure landscape. Okay, these steps need to be performed on the TDC systems and on every CTS development system before we can move the transport around. So 3 steps: SICF, that is look for the service and check if it is started or not. So note the CTS deploy web service runs on the AS Java part of the CTS system, but it must be configured on the AS ABAP part of the CTS system, because the AS ABAP part needs to know how to connect to this service. So that is first step. Okay, now in this scenario here you can see that this is a simplified landscape. You have your dev system, QA system, production system, you have your Java systems. Okay, now in this scenario there are 3 system landscape. Okay, dev system plays the role of development system, transport domain controller, prod system up to now is a virtual SAP system, and there is this SAP system, that is, these are the Java systems. Okay, here one more key thing to note here is communication system. So basically this dev system plays the role of a communication system for these three. Okay, so that is one key thing to note. Okay, in this case the import part needs to be configured on the QoS, as there will be imports later into the QoS system. In addition to the import part, need to be configured on the dev system as well, because the dev plays the role of the communication system for these two, and the import from JQ will therefore use TP and CTS deploy web service on the dev system. As production system, PID is a virtual system, nothing need to be configured. Okay, the export part need to be configured on the dev system only, because this SAP system acts as both the development system. Okay, here you can see that this is your CTS underscore browser service. Just make sure that you activate this service. So that is the step 1. Configuration of CTS deploy web service, basically this LP config. Okay, so configuration of CTS deploy web service. So we need to just configure this logical port for CTS deploy web service, and we need to create a RFC destination for deploy web service. Okay, now configuration of NetWeaver portal source system as runtime system. Now we have done what need to be done on the TDC, that is transport domain controller. Now on the systems where we want to deploy this, or where we want to use this, connect this, say Java systems. So we need to check the CTS deploy web service of the ES Java part. Okay, we need to check whether deploy proxy is available. Okay, then you need to configure a logical part of the CTS deploy service as investment pack. Okay, then we need to check whether LP config is configured properly or not, and logical port exists here or not. So LP config, basically how it looks like, let me show you. Okay, so let's go to this T code called LP config. Okay, so basically here you can see that you can create a logical port here. Okay, so once you, this is important, basically you need to create a logical port. Okay, so that is on the CTS deploy side. Okay, let's go to the next screen where it's telling you need to configure the activate your landscape. Okay, you can go to the STMS and configure them and activate the landscape. Okay, so in the landscape what is required is define non-ABAP systems. Okay, so you can define the non-ABAP systems. Okay, so this is your system. You can go to STMS. Okay, under STMS what we need to do is we need to go to the systems. Okay, under systems we can create a system type of non-ABAP system. So this is where we need to create a non-ABAP system, and the most important thing to note here is the communication system. You need to define this system, the transport domain controller, as the communication system. Okay, then here if it is a source system you need to activate this. Okay, if it is a target system you need to activate this. Say for example this we are doing it in for the source system we need to say activate transport organizer, and we need to give the system details. So on the source system, then on the destination system we need to activate the SDM service, or if it is an XI system we need to activate this. If it is a CLD system, if it is a DC, if it is a file, if any other system, it's this one, and we need to give the system details over here. So take note, this is the system that you are defining, say non-ABAP system. So give its details, say JPQ, JPD. Okay, give some name, say Java Dev System. Okay, communication system. So this is your transport domain controller. So the SID is this is the name. Okay, development infrastructure. In case if you want to use NWDI for it, you can just select this. Okay, and give the SLD URL. So it can pick up the information from SLD. Okay, then in case if it is not, then just deselect this. Source system, basically we want to use the transport organizer from here to create the transport, so just provide this information. Okay, for the target system, what you need to do is you need to provide this service, that is activate deployment service, and you need to provide this information depending on the type of the target system. So once this is done, same thing we need to do for all these systems. That is, if suppose I am creating say JPD, I need to select this. If I am creating JPQ, I need to select this service. If I am creating JPP, that is portal system, then I need to select this service. So this will make sure that that landscape is defined. You have JPD, JPQ, JPP is configured here. All these three systems are configured. Okay, so that is about the configuration part on the STMS. So we have seen SICF, where we are activating the CTS_browser service. We have seen lpconfig, that is creation of port. Then we have seen the STMS, how we can create the non-ABAP systems here. Okay, so these are the three key steps in the setup. Okay, so we have defined this. Now maintain TP parameters for non-ABAP system. Define transport layer and route. So after creating the system, we need to define the TP parameters. So let's go. So these are basically the TP parameters that we need to put. Okay, so we need to define these parameters, that is non-ABAP WBO client, non-ABAP system, WBO get request strategy, release strategy, WBO index, and file transfer. So this need to be defined on your JPD system. Then this need to be defined on your JPQ and JPP system. Okay. So non-ABAP WBO client specifies the client on the CTS system or on the development system. So it's on JPD, in which transport request can be created and released. This parameter is needed to enable the transport organizer web UI and to restrict this UI for non-ABAP SAP systems to one client. Okay, so we just saw this. Basically this is in the source system JPD. So okay, now the parameter get request strategy, values are smart, tag, or create. This defines the automated creation of transport request during the export process. So the parameter request, this release request strategy, that is auto or manual, defines the automatic release of transport request. So basically there are two ways it can happen. One is you manually attach the objects. Another is it is taken care automatically. So it is governed by these two parameters. Okay, then the parameter WBO inbox points to the directory in which the transport organizer looks for the files that must be transported. So this parameter is used for loose coupling, that is file transfer using a mount directory or shared directory. Okay, so here we are giving an example of how to do this in a portal system. Okay, then in the portal system, here you can see that you need to maintain the destination service. You need to enable the single sign-on. So this is basically the RFC destination that need to be defined. Okay, all right. That's all I wanted to cover in this particular training session. Thank you.